Be in that motherfucker, man, shooting dice, and when the police would come, I went to jail right here one day. My homeboy JR, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying, Albert Easley, he had got killed last year, man. Unfortunately, he was an innocent bystander, and he had died right there where you see them. You see the candles and stuff right there, you know what I'm saying? That's for him, you know what I mean? I still come to my neighborhood every day, you know what I'm saying? Studio kept me out of trouble, and that's some real shit. My mama always say that, like, she didn't ever like rap, but she said the one thing that she can't say about it that she think it saved my life is Oakland, you know, the town, you know, ain't no place like that. Like now it's a lot of people moving into the community that's like from different races and stuff like that, but I mean, you know, times change. I still always be able to come down here. See, that's love. That's real love in the streets.
We'll call it gentrification, right? Yeah, I'm from Hunters Point, where they just put bike lanes on my street in the ghetto, and we're like, those aren't for us, you know. I love Oakland. Oh my God, I love Oakland. It's so weird to say because back in the days, like, you know, we used to not cross the Bay Area like that. But yeah, Oakland is the center for like people of color in the Bay Area right now. It's one of the last strongholds of our communities that's going through crazy gentrification, and with culture right now. There's so many events and shows and people fighting really hard. There's so much social justice work and organizing going on right now. And in Oakland, people really have a voice. They really have a voice to challenge the system and to come together. So I love Oakland.
Keep it super social, cause that's what rap is. Conversation, rhythm and poetry. You know it's me, I'm flowing deep, it's totally man. I just compose the beat, man, I'm composer. Kids, I'm not a poser, I'm just rapping.
My name is Khafre J. I'm the founder and executive director of Hip Hop for Change, a local Oakland 501c3 that uses hip hop culture to advocate social justice and make change in the community. So we base our work in the community with people. Right now we have about 25 staff that stand out in the streets and affluent neighborhoods, wave people down. We talk to them about race, social justice, and we educate them about what's going on in the hood. With our grassroots folks, we usually go into mostly white neighborhoods, and we talk to them about our beauty and what we're going through. They're the ones that don't really get a chance to interact with people that look like me. But as far as our funds are directed at marginalized communities, historically oppressed communities, and those tend to be very diverse, black and brown, minority communities, poor people as well. Just the hood, people from the hood, and hip hop community, hip hop culture. You know, that's the cool thing about us is everything that we invest in is working with other people in the community. So we throw shows to work with artists, to bring community members in there. We work with other schools to bring our workshops there. We work with a lot of other organizations to bring hip hop to them. I was born in a community that hip hop was all around me. And hip hop is the way I walk, it's the way I talk, it's the way I dress, it's the way I paint, it's the way I dance, you know, and it's the way I definitely speak. So I was doing hip hop before I knew what hip hop was. I've always been one that liked to rap, liked to sing, liked to spit. And when I first started engaging in hip hop, it was based off a lot of what I saw in the media. But that's very superficial. And I started hearing a lot more hip hop from artists like Mos Def, Hieroglyphics, and people that actually talked about what I was going through. That's when it really exploded for me. What inspires me is just the need to express myself. I took my last paycheck and I bought a CD burner that burns 100 CDs in about 30 hours. And I went out on the street and started selling my own music. And I was making a lot of money doing it, 40 to 100 bucks an hour. And you know, I just had this idea one day, if I could teach 10 people to do the exact same thing that I was doing, then we could have enough money to make our own stages within hip hop to support our own communities, and I rolled from there.
and I'm black, y'all. Red is for the blood, green's for the earth. Had to write a photo to tell these cops my worth. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black and black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. Red is for the blood, green's for the earth. Had to write a photo to tell these pigs my worth. The green band is what they envy. You attempt me to empty another man's land if I turn mine to mincemeat. So red blood had to be spilled out for the green greed. 1,000 kings had to die for the fiend's need. But things seem to find a light in the nonsense. So black backs crack, but black will never lose its conscience. It's real, that still will that fill the pyramids with lyric where it mirrors the black spirit, and here it is. Fuck this, who needs a freaking Oscar? We built the field of dreams, who the hell is Kevin Costner? We should have Columbus the gun and killed Columbus Day 1 to end it, then built the wall.
The biggest challenge for me, this is my first idea for a business. This is the first business I've ever tried to do. It's working remarkably well, but throughout this whole thing, every challenge that I've had, the universe has kind of helped me with it, you know? So call it serendipity, call it luck. I kind of feel like somebody wants this to happen. I don't think it's luck as much as I have never worked harder in my life. I think when hip hop was first starting to get supported by the industry, they didn't really know how to utilize our culture or how to capitalize on it, really. NWA was one of the first groups that was bought more by suburban white kids than anybody, right? And suburban white kids don't come from the same community as hip hop grew out of. And for them, I think they buy what they believe is real, you know? And so fast forward to 1996, you have the Telecom Act from Congress that allowed for the consolidation of corporate media. And today we have about 3 companies that own 90% of what you see in hip hop. This is the problem here, because hip hop is supposed to be an expression of ourselves, you know? Unfortunately, the demand for that comes from a community that doesn't want who we are. They want stereotypes. They want tropes that are very fake, and we know that because that's what they buy. If you look in America right now, we're more segregated than we've ever been in our society, and about 75% of white people don't have people of color for friends. That means that they know stereotypes about us. So yeah, you know, I feel like we're so segregated that these kids in the suburbs don't know who we are. They think we're thugs. They think we're this. These narratives about brown people of being violent, being whatnot, have been perpetuated since we've been in this country, since we were brought here. And we've been trying to get away from them. But if you look at the industry, you have artists like Rick Ross, right? Really famous guy. When he first started, his whole persona was a drug dealer that sells kilos of cocaine, and he's the boss. But, you know, it came out that he was actually a correctional officer in prison, right? And so if we owned our platform and he had lied like that, he would have lost his career. So it's terrible that we don't get to be the gatekeepers for what is considered real hip hop. Hip hop for us has never changed, but their demand for what hip hop has purchased has. Every community has, you know, people that deal with issues, but our community has 3 corporations that invest and capitalize off of our perceived issues, you know. So that's the state of it. This is the commercialization of a depiction of black and brown people that causes our criminalization. This is why we get shot more by police officers. You know, I think it goes to show that when so many people that aren't hip hop are buying hip hop, it could be a very good bridge between, you know, people, so we can have more cross-cultural communication and more cross-cultural respect. We have commercials for Burger King with women with their chests out, right? Eating a burger and it's dripping all over them. That's American culture. That's Western society that is like that. That is very patriarchal and sexist. And I think the thing about hip hop is that hip hop typically represents the brown face. Most of our hip hop, it's from our community. It's from people talking about their experiences. This hyperbolic stuff that they talk about selling kilos, that's like such a small portion of what gets produced in hip hop. But it's the thing that has $7 billion of industry behind it. So people see that. And it's a lot easier to say, oh, look at those black people doing this. That's why we talk about black on black crime, right? It's because we're so segregated that there's intra-communal violence. And you have Johnny Cash saying, I shot a man just to watch him die.
But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
But when some of us say it, you know, oh my God, brown people, black people, you know, I think it's a double standard.
I killed Darnell, yeah, I shot him with my 9. I shot him 9 times, 9 p.m. on the dime. And by the way, it was November 9th.
That don't mean nothing.
For us, we're guilty until proven innocent. For them, they're innocent until proven guilty. So hip-hop is everywhere. We took over everything, and everybody is doing it. It's such an expressive platform that's big. It is a tool that we could utilize to touch all our youth in the world. Like, the best hip-hop is coming out of Africa and the Middle East right now. Those people have a lot to say. I think a lot of people get that misconstrued, conscious hip-hop, as in really nice and sweet and, you know, rainbows and sunshine. No. Like, I'm a conscious rapper. I'm pissed off all the time. Conscious, it just means that you're aware. Right? Consciousness is the act of being aware. Some of these gangster rappers could even be conscious, you know what I'm saying? Not the hyperbolic fake ones that are lying about selling kilos, but the ones that are talking about being on the street corner and feeling like they have to sell dope, you know? That could be something conscious if they talk about it in its true context and how it affects them, you know?
Rap was about keeping it real, man. You rambling from Jacob to make a big deal, Phil. People are pushing the limits still when Lil Wayne's beating up girls like Emmett Till in his own raps. He ain't nothing to chase after. Soulja Boy giving the props to slave masters for bringing us here so he could get ice. Man, you look at how the game reflects a fucked up life when somebody could say something that's stupid, but all you could do was blame it on rap music.
I think kids, yeah, it's like saying when kids play video games, they'll start beating people up. It's not the case. No, kids do what they resonate with. So the problem here is if we only have gangster rap, that means the kids that don't want to be gangsters don't have anything to look up to. If Tupac was still alive, we wouldn't have Lil Wayne and we wouldn't have Rick Ross lying about stuff, you know? When we owned our culture, we wouldn't have those people. And Audre Lorde said if you're a part of a oppressed community, the very act of telling your story is resistance. I think if we can get hip hop to be done the right way and hold on to its means of production, I think these kids will have access to not just signing deals if they fit the corporate narrative, but to being able to express themselves for the greater good of whatever they want to do. Hip hop has taken the minds of our kids, and they're going to do it whether it's full of idiots or intellectuals. I think Hip Hop for Change, first and foremost, is trying to have self-determination for our community. Last year we gave 78 paychecks in 2015 to local hip hop artists. This year we were able to acquire a grant from the Baby Opera House to pay artists to produce songs. If you're hip hop, you should be able to have your paycheck say hip hop, and ours does. You know what I'm saying? I think hip hop is a voice of the people, and if we utilize that, we can talk to the people. I think, like Nina Simone says, you know, music follows, you know, society.
Dope to be here for the 50-year anniversary of the Black Panthers. Can everybody say all power to the people? That's what I'm talking about. I'm a very strong believer in that.
What we need is not just, you know, the means to write and produce songs. It's the means to galvanize and organize our community around hip hop. I mean, the act of getting 300 to 500 people at a show that's about politics is political. It's a political action where we can, you know, talk about what's going on in our hood. The West Coast and like liberal places like here, we're really segregated across class. So there's not much interaction. But when you go to a place like the 50th anniversary of the Black Panther Party, you see all those people. That is beautiful right there, right? And it's people talking revolution. But if we can control that means, our hip hop has always been inherently political. Look at the Frisco Five, right? Led by Crypto, the big homie from Board Stiff, right? They've been rocking since the 80s in the Bay Area. And he organized a hunger strike that got, you know, Chief Surf fired. That's political change. If you look at Ferguson in Baltimore right now, a lot of those young people are writing and doing hip hop pieces and all kind of creative stuff around it, which is galvanizing local elections and their political voice. The platforms that changed the most stuff in Ferguson was people coming together. You know what I'm saying? And I think the principles of hip hop, peace, love, unity, and when we get 500 people dancing and having lots of fun and then learning and talking about what we're going through, that's inherently political. It's the best way to galvanize a community. That's our platform to get our voices. We don't control the political machine, and we actually need to turn it over. It doesn't work for us. So where are we gonna have our political talk? Well, a lot of times that's at a hip hop show, our event with hip hop. So it's our voice. It's our voice to move how we feel, and the music and hip hop will follow how the community feels. Yeah, we've kicked a lot of butt. So we created a curriculum. It's a 4-hour workshop that's modular. It teaches the history of hip hop. And then we pay local break dancers to come into schools and move the chairs. And then we throw in a beat and we teach kids how to do moves. It's a lot of fun to see 2nd, 3rd, 4th graders trying to break dance. It's the coolest thing ever. We also teach them how to do graffiti, how to use graffiti to write empowering things. We teach them how to rap as well, and we get them rapping in front of a whole class. Most of the schools in America are way underfunded. So most of these schools don't even have enough money to pay for the course as much as we ask. So actually, since we don't turn down students ever, 50% of our workshops are done absolutely free. And a lot of them are discounted as well. And when we first started, you can't just go to the Unified School District and say we have a rap class. They don't want that.
Definitely, as a teacher, some of the times I'm looking at these things and I'm like, oh gosh, am I going to get fired? I think a lot of what is in the music, which is what they're most familiar with, speaks to the situations that they might see themselves in. So making sure that they really understand what they're representing and get the right messages.
We have about 80% of our kids rapping in front of the whole class and wanting to. That's not how it works in speech class normally. Kids are like, I gotta speak, right? But, it's kind of funny if you utilize a kid's culture to facilitate education, they kind of want to do that.
It was a great success. I think everybody took something away from it. At the very least, all the kids were engaged. They seemed like they enjoyed their time and got a little dose of something that doesn't traditionally happen in a classroom.
We've got a compulsory education system that's forcing kids to read stuff that's not relevant to them. Forcing them to do music that's not relevant to them. And here we come in with hip hop, and these kids are like, please don't leave, don't leave. I think it's just so awesome to see these kids using hip hop to come up with the most eloquent ideas and concepts. These kids rap about positivity. They're so hungry for doing something in school that doesn't suck. Our education system is a system of white supremacy where we learn everything that Europeans ever did, and then we just learn about slavery and Martin Luther King. And that's it. We also did everything too, It's just so much that you have to go through to even get to the conversation where we can be human in it. All these hurdles that we have to jump through in our life causes so much more friction in a black life. It's so much more viscous to move through society than it is for, I don't even know what it's like to be a white person, Oh my God, to walk down the street and not have people like walking a big curve around me, To society, all lives don't matter equally, you know what I'm saying? They just don't. And I think that's what we're trying to get to, a point where all lives matter in society equally. So that's what we have to do. We just have to make sure our people know that they're beautiful. We have to have our voices out there to say, hey, we are beautiful. And if you don't know that, that's your fault, right? This kitty knows she's beautiful, right? And there's so much that we would not learn if we did not have access to our culture. We need to own that. We need to own that space. We need to own that space of political speech. We need to own that space of beautiful cultural heritage that people can really stand on and become stronger for. So.